The truth about land reform and agricultural grant misuse. Does land reform really work? For years, we've been told that land reform is the key to fixing inequality in South Africa, that Black people desperately want farmland, that redistributing land will bring prosperity. But is that really true? The reality is that most of the land given to Black beneficiaries isn't even being used for farming, and the so-called agricultural grants meant to support Black farmers? In many cases, they're just another way to abuse the system. So let's expose the truth. Most Black South Africans don't want farmland. What they need are real jobs. But instead of building industries, this government has spent 31 years stealing, selling, and destroying everything that could have made South Africa prosper. Let's break it down. Why do up to 90% of redistributed farms fail? The government loves to talk about land reform, but here's the hard truth. Up to 90% of redistributed farms fail, not because of racism, but because many of the new owners never intended to farm in the first place. Some lease the land back to white farmers, others sell government-funded farming equipment, and some just let the land sit there, untouched. Yet, year after year, the government hands out more land, more grants, and more money to people who have no plan to farm. It's not just incompetence, it's corruption. These grants don't go to real farmers. They go to the politically connected, the ANC cronies who use the money for themselves, while honest people, both Black and white, are left struggling. But what does this actually achieve? Is land reform making things worse? This broken system is only making things worse. On one side, white farmers are watching their productive land get confiscated, only to see it turn into wasteland. On the other side, Black South Africans who genuinely want to farm can't get land because corrupt officials keep handing it to people who don't even use it. And what happens? Racial tensions rise. The government blames white people, Black people blame white people, and the ANC sits back and laughs while pocketing the money. But here's the question nobody is asking. Do most Black South Africans even want farmland? Or do they just want a way to survive? Let's be honest. You can't eat land. You need a job. Owning land doesn't mean anything if you have no way to make money from it. And most people don't want to be farmers. They want good, stable, high-paying jobs. But instead of creating jobs, this government has done the exact opposite. Iskor, our steel industry, sold off. South African breweries, gone. Railways, Eskom, post office, ruined. South African Airways, crashed and burned. Atomic Electric Corporation, destroyed. 30 years ago, South Africa built its own weapons, exported its own minerals, and stood as an industrial powerhouse, even under sanctions. We built our own nuclear power plant. But today, we need to pay some other questionable country to add a new reactor. The ANC has looted and destroyed every major industry we had. Instead of creating millions of high-quality jobs, they've created millions of desperate people, forced to rely on government handouts. Thank goodness the previous regime had the foresight to dismantle our nuclear bombs. Imagine what the ANC would have done with these weapons. So why is this country in ruins? Because the ANC never cared about land reform. They cared about enriching themselves. The money that should have gone into building factories, industries, and businesses was stolen, blown on tenders, fake empowerment deals, and corruption. The only thing they've truly succeeded in building, a country where the rich get richer and the poor stay dependent, forever trapped in a broken system that keeps them begging for handouts. And that's exactly where they want people to be. South Africa doesn't need more empty farmland. It needs factories, industries, and infrastructure, things that create real high-paying jobs. Imagine if the government had built production plants instead of stealing billions. If they had strengthened Eskom instead of looting it, if they had invested in real businesses instead of fake B deals, this country could have been an economic giant, but instead, it's falling apart. And unless South Africans wake up, the ANC will keep playing the same game, promising land, blaming white people, and making sure the money keeps flowing into their own pockets. So here's the real question. Do we keep chasing this land reform illusion, or do we demand a real plan to rebuild South Africa's economy? If you agree that South Africa needs jobs, not fake land reform, share this video and spread the truth. Demand accountability, because this country belongs to the people, not the politicians.